Welcome to the Royal Calcutta Turf Club for the Calcutta Races Spring Meeting 6th day Thursday 27th February 2025 race preview. The first race of the afternoon is the belligerent handicap for horses weighed 1 to 26 to be run over a distance of about 1400 meters. The first one we are looking at is Amadeus, who's had a few starts in the season. Best start for Amadeus was in race number 95, where he finished on 5th, and the last start where he again finished on 5th after being in 6th spot. This was in race number 105, where Amadeus was going over 1600 meters, made a late move and eventually got into second last spot. The winner here was Macchiato. Amadeus the mount of vintage as well. Number 2 is Solid Power, who came down from Bangalore, had a start in race number 10 in the monsoon season. This is over 1200 meters, where Solid Power was racing in last spot and stayed on in last, as you can see in the orange jacket at the top of your screen with a white cap. And Solid Power today, the mount of Shahzad Khan, is drawn 7. Three is Tortilla Chip, who came down from Hyderabad, has had couple of starts and unplaced effort in race number 62 and race number 80. The second start that Tortilla Chip had on the Calcutta track was in 4th spot as they turned for home, then stayed on in 4th. This was over 1200 meters. The winner here was Intense Belief, and Tortilla Chip today the mount of Nikhil Naidu and drawn 11. Number 4 is I Smell the Danger. A couple of starts for I Smell the Danger. In race number 26, finished on third actually, was racing in second spot for most while. Then into the last 300 meters, weakened slightly and eventually finished on third. Last start was in race number 33, was in 5th spot and failed to make up any further improvement. Eventually dropped back a place and finished on 6th. And the winner here was Emperor Ashoka, who got it in a close finish. 5 is Phenomenal Lady, 7 is Sunflare. This is from race number 111, where Phenomenal Lady definitely needed this start, was racing in 4th spot, then weakened, eventually finished on 7. And Sunflare, who has had a few starts, a better start was in race number 54, where Sunflare finished on 3rd. Since then, 3 unplaced efforts. Last 2 starts, Sunflare has been slow out of the gates, including this start where Sunflare finished on 8th. We got Sporting Trainer, MSG Fantasy. Sporting Trainer has had a few starts, 5 starts to be precise. Second place in race number 39. Last start, Sporting Trainer was racing in 7th spot, made some very late gains and eventually finished on 3rd. This was after being slowly out of the gates. And number 11 is MSG Fantasy, who was also slowly out of the gates, then was in 4th spot as the Ben and eventually finished on 4th, just behind Sporting Trainer. The winner was Dance Along. 8 is UV. UV has had a few starts in the season, placed effort in race number 14. Since then, 5 unplaced effort, including the start we are looking at, which is from race number 102, where UV was racing in 5th spot, was in a prominent position until the last 300 meters, where started to really slide back, eventually finished on 8th. The 14 runners, the winner here was Lucretius, who eventually got the race by length and 3/4. 9 is Magnite. Magnite has had a placed effort in race number 60, where it went over 2000 meters. Last start, she was a little slowly out of the gates, then took the turn in 4th spot, eventually finished on 9th. And after the race, it was observed that Magnite was trotting lame. The mount of Mohammad Shamir is the Magnite today. 10 is Tiger Blood. Couple of starts for Tiger Blood in this current season. In race number 2, which was run on the monsoon track, finished on 6th. In race number 26, Tiger Blood was in 5th spot until the last 250 meters, where dropped back couple of placing, eventually finished on 7th of 11 runners. The winner here was Trey BR. We move on to the second race of the day, the Voltage Handicap for horses weighed 21 to 46, grade 1 to 26, eligible to be run over a distance of about 1400 meters. The first one we are looking at is Multi-Stara, who picked up a win in race number 21 over 1200 meters. Since then, had a 4th placed effort in race number 74, finished on 4th, again in race number 88, again in race number 106, finished on 4th. Last start was over 1400 meters, that was in race number 116, where Multi-Stara took the turn in 7th spot, made up only a placing and eventually finished on 9th of 9 runners. The winner here was Aldila. 2 is Rimmel. Rimmel has had 5 starts in this season. Started the season with a placed effort in race number 25 over 1600 meters. Finished on 3rd behind Norwegian Wood. Since then has had 4 starts and 4 unplaced effort. Last 3 starts Rimmel has been slow out of the gates. Last start was in race number 88 where Rimmel took the turn in 6th spot. Stayed on in 6th. The winner here was Lucky 9. We got 4 runners from race number 112. We had Sicily, who was running after a break, was in 10th spot, then finished on 10th. We had number 7, which is Horus the Great, who was also having his first start in the current season and raced in 9th spot for most while and finished on 9th. We had number 8, which is Super Sapphire, who came down from Bangalore, has had 4 starts and couple of placed effort in this race. Super Sapphire, after racing in 8th spot for most while, finished on 6th. And we had number 12, which is Kindred Spirit. Kindred Spirit was racing in 7th spot, staying on in 7th. The winner was Fresh Hope. We've got Amalfitana and John Lafette. This is from race number 117, where Amalfitana was a little slow into stride, was brushed up, took the turn in 4th spot. Then early exertions perhaps took a toll, and Amalfitana eventually finished on 5th. We had 11, John Lafette, who finished on 2nd in an earlier start in race number 100 over here. John Lafette was racing in 5th spot, then made up a placing and finished on the board 4th. And it was reported after the race that jockey lost the whip during the race. 5 is Rhapsody in Green, who has had 4 starts in this season. Better start definitely was the last start, where Rhapsody in Green was in 7th spot, then started to make late inroads into the race and eventually got into place money, finished on 3rd behind Star Concept, who got the race by length and 3/4. Rhapsody in Green, again the mount of A. Ashad Ashbar. 6 is Sabar, who has had 3 starts and after moving base from Pune, has had 3rd place effort in race number 41, then finished on 4th in race number 61. And last start was in race number 85, where Sabar was racing over 1200 meters, was in 2nd spot, was racing prominently, but in a clustered finish, finished on 6th. The winner here was Impressive Annie. 9 is Macchiato. Macchiato is by Sanis Parakam out of Arabica, and after a few starts, Macchiato finally came good in his last start, where Macchiato was in 4th spot, then took charge as the horse's head turned for home, then eventually had about 2 lengths to spare from Banduk Wali. Macchiato today the mount of Anthony Raj S. We got Tenderheart and Monarchy. They raced together in race number 103, where Tenderheart was racing in last spot as the horses turned for home, then made some very late movements and finished on 3rd. 13 Monarchy, who's had a few placed effort in race number 42, has not really built on that. 3 unplaced efforts since then, including this start where Monarchy finished on 7th. The winner was Bansi. We move on to the 3rd race of the day, the JSK1 Sportsbook Plate for horses rated 41 to 66, rated 21 to 46, eligible to be run over a distance of about 1600 meters. First up, we got 3 runners. We got Sensational, who's definitely been in sensational forms, 3 wins from 4 starts, just a blot in the Oaks where she finished on 6th. And then we got number 4, which is Norwegian Wood. Norwegian Wood also has been showing great form, a win and couple of 2nd place effort, including a 2nd place effort behind Sensational in the last start. And then we got number 6, which is Felix. Felix has been knocking on the doors, a 2nd place effort behind Lucky 9 over 2,400 meters. Last start, Felix was a little flat-footed as they came into view, finished on 4th. Number 2 is Ivanhoe, who's had 3 starts in the season. Started the season with a 3rd placed effort in race number 1. The race was run on the monsoon track. Since then, couple of unplaced effort in race number 49, finished on 6th. Last start finished on 5th, and after the race it was found to be trotting lame. Ivan is the mount of Arman Khan. Three is Mighty Zo. Mighty Zo has had 5 starts in this season. Mighty Zo and race number 109 finished on 4th after being in 3rd spot for most while. Mighty Zo today the mount of Nikhil Naidu. The winner in this race was Ramiel. We got 5 Into the Storm and 7 Sea of Charm. Into the Storm was a winner in an earlier start that was over 1400 meters in race number 71, then finished on 2nd in race number 82. Last start was in race number 116, the one we are looking at. Into the Storm was in 5th spot as the heads turned for home, then came up with a big run towards the inside and just got into 2nd spot. And number 7 is Sea of Charm, who has had 4 starts in this season and 4 unplaced effort. Last 2 starts, Sea of Charm has been slowly out of the gates and over here finished on 7th. 8 is Extravagant Star. Extravagant Star was a winner in race number 20 over 1100 meters. Since then, couple of efforts in over 1100 meters and finished on 4th in race number 73 after being a little slowly into stride. Last start was in race number 92 where Extravagant Star was in 5th spot and made up a placing and eventually finished on 4th. We got number 9 is Clever Hans, who's had 5 starts in the season. Placed effort in race number 23 where Clever Hans finished on 3rd. Last start was over 2400 meters. In a small field of 4, Clever Hans eventually got into 3rd spot. The winner here was Good Deeds, who eventually won the race by length. Clever Hans drawn 11th and the mount of Varun. Number 10 is Salisbury. Salisbury, after coming down from Hyderabad, has a start in race number 20. This was over 1100 meters where Salisbury was racing in 12th spot and finished on a detached 12th. And the winner here was Extravagant Star. Salisbury today the mount of R. Manish, drawn 1. Eleven is Star Justice, who's had 5 starts in this season. A better start definitely was the last start where Star Justice, after being in 6th spot at the bend, then made some late gains and eventually got into 2nd spot behind 3 Little Words, who really stole a march. And the next best thing done by Star Justice was finished on 2nd. "12 is Tiger Shark. This is a race we are looking at from the previous winter season. Tiger Shark had a win in race number 109, then finished on 2nd in race number 143. And Tiger Shark has had a mock race since then. And over here, Tiger Shark finished on 2nd behind Dubai Star. This was over 2000 meters. We move on to the 4th race of the day, the GSK1 Grand Annual Mile for horses 3-year-old only, to be run over a distance of about 1600 meters. We got 3 runners going to purse. First up, we got Shellacking, Sanis Parakum out of Cameron. Couple of starts for Shellacking. And race number 97, after being in 4th spot, dropped back into the home straight and finished on last of 5. Last start was over 1600 meters, was in 4th spot, kept on plodding and eventually finished on 4th. Shellacking the mount of Anthony Raj S, drawn 1. 2 is Eleonora. 3 starts for Eleonora, 3 second place effort, and Eleonora last start was over 1400 meters where she tried to make it a start to finish affair, but Pentazi was a little too strong and Eleonora finished on 2nd again. Is by Lita Morado Nora and the mount of Suraj Naredu. Finally, we got number 3, Galway Girl, who's by Dreamfield out of Actual. Couple of starts for Galway Girl. In race number 32, the first start she had was in 2nd spot, then came under pressure, eventually finished on 3rd. Last start, Galway Girl was a little slow into stride, took the turn in 3rd spot, stayed on in 3rd of 4. The winner was Murano and Galway Girl, the mount of Arul JH, drawn 2. We move on to the fifth race of the afternoon, the Governor's Cup for horses rated 95 and above, to be run over a distance of about 1600 meters. First runner we're looking at is A Star Is Born. A Star Is Born has had a couple of starts in this season. In race number 44 over 1600 meters, finished on third behind Maropi. Last start was over 2000 meters where Star Is Born was produced wide of the track, but was not really accelerating the way we have known A Star Is Born to accelerate. Eventually finished on third to a stylish diff, and A Star Is Born again the mount of Suraj Naredu. We got a couple of runners. This is from race number 122. We got King's Retreat, who was racing in fourth spot, then came under pressure, eventually finished on fifth. And Vincent Van Gogh, what a revelation this horse has been since switching base from Western India. 2 starts, 2 wins, and last start won by a street despite drifting off a straight course. Today the mount of Vishal Bunde once again, and King's Retreat the mount of R. Manish. 4 is Stockbridge. Stockbridge has had a few starts. Started the season with a second placed effort behind Chopin, then 5th behind Ramiel in race number 65. Last start, Stockbridge was racing in 8th spot, kept plodding in a clustered field, finished on 8th of 10 runners. The winner was Global Influence. We move on to the sixth race of the day, the final classic of the season, the longest classic of the season, the GSK1 Calcutta Sun Ledger for Indian horses 4-year-old only, to be run over a distance of 2,800 meters. 4 runners going to post this one. We got 4 runners, 3 of them which ran against each other. That was in the Derby. We had Champagne Supernova, who was racing in 5th spot, then dropped back, eventually finished on 7th. Champagne Supernova, the mount of Imran Chisti. Then we got Nometsi, who has had a couple of starts in the season. In the Derby was perhaps the last one to make a move and was moving like a rocket, but the race was already over. Nometsi finished on 5th. Lady Sunshine was definitely the revelation of this race. She kept on finding something and eventually just was overall very close to the winning post by Castile, and Lady Sunshine finished on 2nd, the mount of Pete Trevor. 4 is Rise in Rain, and came down from Bangalore and took a tilt at the Oaks, and what a chance this was for Rise in Rain to rise and reign over the field, where came wide of the track and then took charge into the last 100 meters and eventually staved out the challenge of both Rahila and Main Street. Rise and Rain again the mount of Suraj Naredu. So that's the lineup for the final classic of the season. We move on to the last race of the day, the GSK1 Best Winner Market Plate for horses rated 21 to 46, rated 1 to 26, eligible to be run over a distance of about 2,000 meters. First runner we're looking at is Bansi, who's already had a couple of wins in this season. In race number 48, Bansi got the measure of Fortune Warrior over 1600 meters, then had a placed effort in race number 79. Then last start, Bansi was in 4th spot, then took charge into the last 200 meters, eventually won the race by length and a quarter, beating Amalfitana in 2nd. Bansi again the mount of Mohammad Samir. 2 Saw has had a few starts in this season, has finally been coming into his own. Is 2 Saw. Last start was in race number 118, where 2 Saw was racing in 3rd spot and started to accelerate, but the race was already sewn up by Annette. But 2 Saw did the next best thing, finished on 2nd, the mount of R. Behbel. Number 3 is Veneno. Veneno has had 5 starts in the season. A better start was in race number 79, where Veneno finished on 2nd to Good Deeds. Last start was over 2,400 meters, where Veneno took the turn in mid-pack. Then when asked for an effort, did not really accelerate, finished on 4th of 4. The winner was Good Deeds again. 4 is Super Rakiga. Super Rakiga has had 4 starts in this season. A better start was in race number 89, where Super Rakiga finished on 3rd to No Worry, that was over 1600 meters. Since then, couple of unplaced effort in race number 94, finished on 5th, and race number 117, after being in 7th spot, finished on 6th. The winner here was 3 Little Words, Super Rakiga at the mount of Ashad Ashbar today. Number 5 is Zambezi. Zambezi in race number 100 was racing in 4th spot, then started to accelerate into the last 150 meters. They really left the field standing cold and eventually had 5 lengths to spare over John Lafayette. Zambezi today the mount of Ankush, who claims 4 kilos off. 6 is the Presence. The Presence won in race number 60, where got the measure of Magnite. In race number 108, went over 2,400 meters. In a small field, the Presence really did not make a mark, eventually finished on third of 4 runners. The winner was Good Deeds, and the Presence the mount of Arul JH today, drawn 2. 7 is Cristaldo. Cristaldo, who's had a few starts and a couple of second place effort in race number 69 and race number 93 respectively. Last start went over 1100 meters as Cristaldo was in 8th spot, then dropped back when the race came to a boil, eventually finished on second last of 10 runners. The winner was Star Concept. So that's the lineup for the day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. Good luck and see you at the races.